This time we are heading to the exciting Nordic island country Iceland on the North Atlantic Ocean. Iceland is a volcanic island country covering about 100,000 square kilometers in North Atlantic Ocean. The old name was Snæland or Snowland, given by the early settlers in the 9th century. Since then, through many political changes, it became a sovereign nation in 1944. Jules Gabriel Verne, or commonly known as Jules Verne, the French novelist, wrote one of the most haunted science fiction stories, A Journey to the Center of the Earth, in 1864. And the story was of a team of scientists exploring the center of the Earth, starting their journey from Iceland. Iceland's Snæfellsjökull volcano mountain inspired the author to be the entry point to Beneath the Earth. We landed in Reykjavik International Airport in Iceland to visualize the area that the author had in mind. Fly bus from airport to the hotel. Our mission is to cover the beginning part of the story locations the author had in mind. This is Reykjavik, the capital, the largest and most populated city. A Norwegian settler, Ingolf Arnason, established the city in 870 AD. Now about 2/3 of the country's population live in this city. This is a current cityscape. At the time of the story, the area was mostly farmland and the city used to look like this. As the original story goes, a scientist, Professor Otto Lindenbrock of Hamburg, Germany, and his nephew Axel set out via Kiel and Copenhagen to arrive Reykjavik in Iceland during mid-19th century in search of the passage which the professor found in a cryptographic runic which he purchased as an antique. The story differs slightly in the 1959 first movie, where a geologist, Professor Sir Oliver Lindelbrook of Edinburgh, Scotland, and his student Alec were the explorers. The film story has an additional character, Clara, widow of Professor Göteborg, who provided equipment her husband had gathered for the voyage. This is the old harbor area in Reykjavik. It is implied that the explorer team eventually arrived here by sea, as there was no other option at the time of this story. This harbor existed since 18th century. Although there is nothing much to follow above the surface, but whatever it is, while we follow the book, we use some clips from the movie. We suggest our viewers to read the book as well as watch the movie again to refresh. Since we are in the city at this modern time, we will walk through some current time attractions of the city before we proceed following the explorer's footsteps. This is Harpa Concert Hall and Conference Center near the harbor area. This is the home of the National Opera and Symphony of Iceland. This is Sun Voyager, a modern sculpture by the renowned sculptor John Gunnar Arnason on the seaside. It is described as a dream boat for hope, progress, and freedom. This is Landspitali, the National University Hospital. This is the leading hospital and the largest workplace for healthcare employees in Iceland. The hospital also attends to medical emergencies for tourists in the Reykjavik area. Another building of the hospital. Little tree house in someone's house. This is the main bus stand of the city from where the city sightseeing hop and stop bus as well as most sightseeing tour buses leave. Local buses as well as buses to all over the country also start from here. This is Haskuli Islands, the main university of Iceland, located at the city center. Also at the city center, this is the National Museum. This houses objects from the settlement age to the present. This is another building of the museum. This is Tjörnin Lake, situated at this city center. Tjörnin means a lake or a pond. The lake is a part of a lagoon that existed long back here. This lake is frequented by between 40 and 50 species of water birds from the Arctic Ocean. A typical Icelandic urban dweller residence. If we wait here, this gentleman may get up and start walking. On the side of Tjörnin Lake, this is the modern city hall built in 1986. This has a visitor center and a cafe. Another view of the city hall. Nearby, this is Alþingi, the national parliament of Iceland, housed in this over a century old building built in 1881. Next to the parliament, this is Reykjavik Cathedral, the oldest church in Iceland, originally built in 1787 and rebuilt in 1897 after a major restoration. Each session of the parliament starts with a mass at the cathedral. Also, by the side of the lake, this is the National Gallery of Iceland, a national art museum which places the main emphasis on 19th and 20th century Icelandic art. This is the exclusive and exotic three-course restaurant famous for Icelandic delicacy, puffin, whale and horse meat dishes. Strange but true. This is Laugavegur shopping street in the commercial district of the city with high-end retail outlets. Also, both sides of the entire road are full of high-end hotels and restaurants. The entire city tour was all on foot, easily 15 kilometers uphill downhill walk. Finally, this is our hotel in Reykjavik. And the reception of the hotel, but in the movie the lobby was like this. This is Vijay, our camera person. Back to the story. The explorers from Reykjavik started towards the volcano. We are traveling by car through this scenic drive, but the explorers had to travel by horse cart then. Little motel and restaurant on the way. And our horse cart and the cart driver. The destination ahead. And this road. We met a modern explorer on the way, Maso. This is the base of the Snæfellsjökull volcano, which means a volcano full of snow, about 150 kilometers north from Reykjavik, reachable by motorable road, but the last 20 kilometers was lava rock road. It was very difficult to drive. This is a 700,000 year old 1446 meter high glacier capped volcano. The volcano was built by many layers of lava and last erupted about 2000 years back. This is Iceland's one of the most visited attractions because of this story. The summit of the volcano can be reached by trekking during summer. Back to the story again. After reaching the base of the mountain, they hired as their guide Icelander Hans Biekle, a Danish-speaking duck hunter. They then reached the top of the volcano. The decoded cryptograph read in then word forms: go down into the crater of Snæfellsjökull, which scatters shadow caresses just before the calends of July, O daring traveler, and you will make it to the center of the earth. I have done so, Arn Sakunsem. In the story, Arn was a 16th century alchemist who earlier made the journey, and cryptograph also indicate the location of the entrance by following a sun ray on the last day of June. The explorer finally found the entrance from the sun ray and entered inside the volcano lava tube, and the journey began. Although the outdoor sequences of the 1959 version of the film were shot in the UK and USA, but the 2008 version was partially shot at this Snæfellsjökull area. This is Vanshalir cave at the base of the volcano. The country is full of lava tubes beneath Earth's surface, and this cave is the nearest to the volcano. It has lava tubes or lava tunnels interconnecting one to other. This is the entrance area of the cave. This cave was made open for public in 2011. The cave comprises 8,000-year-old lava tubes spread at about 35 meters below the ground. Inside the cave, which is mostly dark, can be visited by climbing down from here through a steel spiral stair. The cave tunnel was created by a volcanic eruption in a nearby crater. As the surface lava from the eruption came into contact with the cooler air, it turned to rock while the lava underneath continued to flow away, leaving a magnificent lava tube cave behind. Although the explorers entered through a passage inside this crater, experiencing walking through such tubes here gives a feeling of Jules Verne's imaginations.
And of course you have to have pretty good imagination for that, guys. But what you can notice quite well here is how the lava river was moving through. And we can also notice quite a lot of different ways how it was cooling down as well. At these markings, we can see how the lava river was draining out at the end. So it was getting lower and lower, probably day by day. And of course it depends, the more lava there is, the deeper the cave will go. Before it gets a little bit hard to walk on, especially in the middle, as you can notice. So everybody stay close to the ropes from now on, just for everybody's safety. Yeah? And this is the deepest point. This is 35 meters below ground, and it's also 30 meters above sea level.
It is hard to believe that Jules Verne never traveled to Iceland, but his imagination still haunts. Interestingly, there is a visitor center at the middle of nowhere. Little coffee break at the end of the day. Before we leave Iceland, following the explorers, here are some glimpses of Iceland's nature. What an amazing beauty! This is Thingvellir, an area in Southeast Ireland, about 50 kilometers east of Reykjavik. This place is a national shrine for Icelanders, as it used to be where the first Alþingi, or the national parliament, established by Vikings, sat from 930 AD or 10th century, the oldest parliament in the world, right up until the 18th century. The Thingvellir area is now a national park and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is the place where North America and Eurasia continental plates meet, and the two plates, America this side and Eurasia this side, can be clearly seen. Here even a more obvious view, American plate on the left side and Eurasia plate on the right side. A geological movement triggered the gigantic volcanic eruptions which gave birth to this country around 20 million years ago. Eruptions and earthquakes still continue all over Iceland. Notably, following on the below earth direction of journey to the center of the earth travel, it could be likely that Jules Verne's imaginary journey route of Professor Lyndall Brock traveled below, passing through from American to Eurasia tectonic plates here. Here is also this 1000-year-old Thingvellir church, and next to it is the summer residence of Prime Minister located on the Eurasia plate. Walking between two tectonic plates, one of the rarest opportunity. What a mesmerizing landscape. No wonder Iceland has been a favorite location for film shootings. Over 3 dozen foreign films have been shot in Iceland, including 1985 release View to a Kill and 2002 release Die Another Day of James Bond movies, as well as 2014 release Interstellar. In this park, some sequences of the famous HBO TV series Game of Thrones Season 4 were shot. This is the Thingvallavatn lake here, the largest natural lake in Iceland, beautiful as far as the eye can see. Interestingly, we are now driving on the Eurasia plate land. In order to save 30 or 35 kilometers of driving to the next destination, we used this shortcut rural road and entered into this unexpected Jurassic landscape in this hilly and rocky terrain. We then passed through many remote upland farms where there are often beautiful Icelandic horses than people to be seen. Next is this little village Laugarvatn in a geothermally active area. This is Laugarvatn lake by the side of the village. This lake contains geothermal springs under its surface, making it a popular swimming spot with some warm patches along the shoreline year round. Here there is a geothermal bakery where breads are baked in a geothermal heat by putting the dough container inside sand at the lake shore. Eggs boiled in this geothermal hot water is also a delicacy. Interestingly, it smells like egg here, must be the sulfur. This is Haukadalur geothermal area full of sprouting hot springs. This is Strokure geyser, which is the biggest geyser here. It erupts every few minutes, sometimes as high as 30 meters into the sky. A fantastic show of nature. Lucky to experience this wonder of nature once in a lifetime. The next here is this Gulfos waterfall, which translates as the golden waterfall. Gulfos is one of Iceland's most popular and cherished natural wonders. A double drop waterfall with a cascade of more than 30 meters and generating millions of gallons of water crashing into a narrow ravine or gorge. This waterfall is continuously fed by meltwater from the Langjökull glacier 40 kilometers into the highlands. This Gulfos waterfall is also a favorite filming location. Sequences of the TV series Vikings, Lost in Space and Avatar were shot here. This waterfall also appears in the beginning sequences of the epic 1966 release The Bible in the Beginning. This is Secret Lagoon, known locally as Gamla Laugin, is the oldest swimming pool in Iceland, built in 1891 at a geothermal area near Fleurir village. The lagoon is fed by warm water estimated for over 10,000 years, coming from hot springs in nearby areas, including the geyser we saw today. The water flows continuously and it takes only 24 hours for complete replacement. The water is extremely hot but clean, rich in sulfur. In the pool, the water stays at 38 to 40 Celsius all year round. Too much temptation, and my cameraman is in water with his camera. What a show! This area has lots of geothermal greenhouses where geothermal energy is used to heat the greenhouses, a process started about a century ago in Iceland. Mostly fruits, vegetables and mainly mushrooms are grown in the greenhouses in this area. Next, this is Kerid, a 55-meter deep and 270-meter wide volcanic crater with a turquoise blue mineral water lake at the base. Another fantastic spectacle in Iceland. It is possible to walk down a pathway to the crater's bottom for a better look. Last look of this mesmerizing phenomenon of nature. Finally, in today's outing, this is a 2006 built world's third largest geothermal power plant with plumes of steam blowing into the air. Here, superheated steam under pressure collected from underground is used to run turbines. Unbelievable, but true. Again, the last look. Getting back towards the hotel, but before that, lava field and lava field. Never ending. Today we are driving about 200 kilometers southeast to visualize some fire and ice features of the country. As the first stop, we are heading towards the 1973 US Navy C-117D crash site located in Soleh Masandur on the southern coast. Travel to the site by this shuttle through this volcano rock road. The other option is to walk about 3.5 kilometers each way, and many do that. These are remains of the aircraft which have remained relatively intact, leading to the crash site becoming a major tourist destination in Iceland. Iceland has also been a favorite for Indian film shootings. The Gerua song sequence of Shah Rukh Khan Kajol starrer 2015 release Dilwale was shot here on this aircraft wreckage. Close up. And inside the craft, the broken engine and the pilot's cabin. Finally, my cameraman, action! My cameraman is too excited examining a piece of the wreckage. This is a small village nearby Vik, and it is Iceland's southernmost town. The village mainly caters for the tourists visiting the area, with restaurants, souvenir shops and public restrooms as well. This is Sohe Mayaku, a breathtaking photogenic glacier where frosty blue and white ice mingle with dark lava. I cannot believe my eyes because I have never seen a glacier before in my life. my cameraman in camera mode now. This is Skogafoss waterfall. Skogafoss is one of the biggest and a spectacular waterfall in Iceland, with a width of 25 meters and a drop of 60 meters. It is a very popular visit destination in the south of Iceland. Often there are beautiful double rainbows here, but at times it is not possible to take photo. Another sequence of Dilwale Gerua song was shot here in this Skogafoss waterfall. We were lucky, at least could catch a single rainbow. And my cameraman has gone in meditation mode. The water from the fall is flowing straight towards the Atlantic Ocean. We see ahead Iafiaku Ice Cap Glacier. The ice cap covers a volcano with a summit elevation of 1651 meters. The volcano has erupted relatively frequently, the most recent in 2010, causing enormous disruption to air travel across Western and Northern Europe for a week. Here is a display of the damages caused during the 2010 eruption. En route, we find one more waterfall, Seljandas. This is one of the most famous waterfalls in Iceland with a 60-meter drop. Here also we could catch a beautiful rainbow. Unbelievable. There is a footpath here that takes visitors behind the falls itself. Finally, this is the famous Rinsifera black sand beach on the North Atlantic and is one of the most famous and most visited sites in all of Iceland. This is a beautiful but dangerous destination where rough waves come higher up in the beach than usual. This is the North Atlantic here. Also, here is a large lava stone cave battered by heavy oceanic waves. Here there are these artistic rising lava rock columns made by nature and resemble step pyramids. Again, this place could be on Jules Verne's imaginary journey route, and Professor Lyndall Brock could have travelled below the ocean towards Stromboli in Italy, southeast from here. Finally, from Iceland, we continue to follow the route above the ground, whereas the explorers traveled beneath the Earth's surface, passing through adventures after adventures. An article by an American fiction writer and traveler, Rick Johnson, suggests the possibility of a volcanic tunnel, including the subterranean sea below the North Atlantic and lands of Europe, miles and miles below the Earth's surface. Here we end our Iceland travel. Stay tuned for the end part of the story in Stromboli, Italy.